Hey everybody, Ron the Future here. How are you guys doing? So as you can see in the thumbnail, I've got a 49 Merc. This is a plastic model that I built a long time ago. We're talking 1988. So we're talking, what, about 37 years? This model is almost 40 years old in a few more years. Now, as you know, my channel, I do different collectibles, Hot Wheels, model cars sometimes, comic books, or sometimes vlogging around Las Vegas. So a lot of you I told a long time ago, eventually I'm going to show the best models that I've built. Now, through the years, I've built and sold many models, and but a few I kept because they were my best. So I'm going to show you the car the best I can right now and talk a little bit about it. And then at the end, I want to tell you the backstory of this car because I think it's a pretty cool story. You guys might want to hear it. Okay, so like I was saying, this is a 1949 Merc. This started off as a coupe. So it had the top on it right here. I don't have the boot that goes here. Somewhere along the line I misplaced it, but I can always build one or make one or whatever. So anyway, like I said, I built this in 1988 because I was doing a lot of 32 Fords and hot rods, and my dad had a 50 Merc, a real one that looked like the one in Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean. And I kept thinking, I like the 50 Mercs and 49 Mercs. They're not my favorite. I like the hot rods, but I do like the customs too. So I thought, well, if I had a 49 or 50 Merc, what would I make it into? What would be my dream 49 or 50 Merc? So I took a couple of weeks and I thought about it. And then I bought this kit, the 49 Merc. And I said, well, the first thing, I'd want a convertible. So I cut the top off. I didn't chop it because I should have. That's a lot of work. And I never tried that before. I never even cut the roof off, the top off before. But I did that, and it came out pretty well. So I was trying to make this more like a dream car. What my personal dream Merc would look like. If I had like unlimited amount of money and I could just go crazy and do whatever I want. So then I like the colors red and white. Like my Fender guitar, it's red and white. So I called this car Candy Cane because it always reminded me of a candy cane. Now the trunk and the hood does open. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm going to have to do it in sections. So that's the first thing I did, cut the top off. Then I started on the skirts here. So I made a big lip right there. I forget what it was called. It was like Modeler's Putty or something like that. So I custom made that lip. That had like a little tiny lip. I wanted to exaggerate the lip. So that's what I did. And I'll get to the other side in a minute. Then I put the lake pipes on. I don't think this came with the kit. I think I got these from another model, I think. So then I wanted to rework the car. I don't really want to have anything stock if I could help it. I did leave the door handles. I didn't shave those off. I didn't round the hood corners or anything like that. So it has the emblem and the word Mercury. I didn't sand those off. But anyway, it has Frenched headlights. It's hard to see with the rope there. So obviously I have this on a stand with the trophy, so it shows it's a show car. I'll tell it my story later. I did enter this in a show, in a plastic modeler's car show up in Salinas in 1988, and I won a plaque. That was the trophy. It's a plaque. I can't show it right now. It's in a box out in the garage, and I can't get to it right now. But maybe later on I'll do another video with the car with the plaque when I can get to it. I won all around best show for this car. It really is beautiful. That's why it's one of my best. This is my #1 best, and then I got a #2 best that I'll be showing at another time. So anyway, I didn't like, well, not that I didn't like, I didn't want to use the hubcaps that I found in other models. So what I did, I used the original hubcaps, but I made like a spear point. And I just glued those onto the original hubcaps because I wanted something different. I thought about, like chrome reverse rims or, a different style hubcap, but I wanted like a spear, like a spike, something that looked kind of mean, something different. Kind of like a weapon, I guess you could say. And then I hand painted the white walls myself. Now they didn't come out perfect, but I'm not an expert on painting, but I did the best I could. So try to stay with me on this. I've done a lot of work to this car, and I'd like to show you, but it's going to take me a little while. So yeah, the headlights already came Frenched, so they're tunneled in. I know the rope's in the way. And I forgot the year and make of the grill, but that's a custom grill. Then it's glued onto like a panel in the back. That was custom. And I forgot if that came with the kit or not. Sometimes I use different parts. That might have came with the kit. I'm not sure. Then instead of a front bumper, it's like a custom bumper. So I was trying to give it like a shark look, like a shark mouth, as you can see with the grill, and the bumper kind of looks like a mouth and the eyes, and doesn't kind of look like a shark. Maybe not a great white, but so anyway, I just try to slide this. I have to be very careful with this. It is delicate, but I did build this extra well, and everything I glued on here, after I glued it, I put more glue because the model car show I took, the show was actually at a real car show, and they were having a modeler's convention, a modeler's show, car show, and the show was about, I don't know, about 3 hours from my house by car. So I knew this was going to have a lot of shaking in the car and bumps and turns and different things like that. So you can't tell, but this car is built very, very well. A lot of glue, but it's hidden. And then I built this in Southern California. Now I live in Las Vegas. And I transported this in my car all the way from Southern California to Las Vegas. Now it's a 4-hour drive. So I did lose a few trophies I had here. But that's okay. And then I think a while back, one of the taillights came off and I had to re-glue that. But, this is almost 40 years old. I've done all those hours of traveling, and so yeah, it really held up nice. So again, the hubcaps, like that. Lake pipes, the custom lip on the skirt. Oh yeah, the spotlights right there. I'll get to the interior eventually. Oh yeah, the double custom aerial. And drill into the body there. That's the radio antenna. I did a double. I'll get to the paint in a minute too. So in the back, of course, we got the dual exhaust with the chrome tips. Instead of a back bumper, I have a roll pan. The tail lights are a Cadillac, from a Cadillac. Double tail lights there. And I believe no emblems or anything came on the trunk. So it was already what's called decked. I should have sanded the emblems and the Mercury off the hood, and now that's called nosed, because it's, you know, right here is solid. There's no emblems or anything, so that's called nosed here. And the back is called decked. Nosed and decked is when you shave everything off and it's just really smooth like that. So anyway, it took me 6 months, pretty much every day working on this, because I had to wait for the paint to dry, put the extra glue, and so yeah, that's a long time. It never took me 6 months before. So this is my best build and my longest build. So again, you know, with the paint, I had to do a lot of taping off and repainting, you know. So of course I got the red and white seats. This was right there's a portable TV. Looks like a computer now, but back then that was a TV. I'm afraid I'm going to hit something while I'm filming this. I'm trying to be real careful. Got the custom bucket seats. The telephone. Now, of course, you got to remember, this is 40 years ago, so when I built this was pretty high tech. You know, the car had its own phone. Custom shifter knob. Got some gauges down there. I painted the dash, of course, to match the steering wheel, the original steering wheel. Of course, I do that red and white too, to get the candy cane. That chrome thing right there, you're probably wondering, on the mirror, looks like an upside down V. I had 2 small dice hanging from that, and the glue gave out and they dropped off somewhere. They're not in the car, so I think years ago that happened and I just probably threw them away. But I didn't want to try to take that wire off. I custom made and glued because I didn't want to break the mirror off or anything like that. So yeah, I like the way I did the seats, red and white. I'm proud of this car. So now I'm going to open up the hood and show you that. Okay, I removed the hood. So there's the hood. Now, I removed the hood because from factory they have the little, well, they're like hood hinges. You can't open it like that. So, you know, it look like that. But it hits my spotlights and I don't want to knock those off. So I just squeeze in those tabs and lift the hood straight up. So I'm glad it worked out like that because, you know, for back then, the engine's really detailed. Now, I don't have little guys nowadays, they put little wires and hoses and spark plug wires. I didn't do all that, you know, it's more high tech, or they get more into it nowadays. Even like the interior, that they'll put like cloth and vinyl or leopard skin or whatever. I just stuck with paint. So again, you know, trying to make this look like a real show car, a real dream car. So before I put in the engine, I painted all the engine bay all white. I was trying to make it as white and red and as clean as possible, just like a candy cane, you know, real slick and colorful. So got the radiator black, the top of it I did gold, so it looked like copper. Now I don't remember the size or the make of the engine, and I wanted to keep the engine as red as possible to match. Got the chrome valve covers there, chrome air cleaner covers, has 2 carburetors. Yeah, I totally forgot the size of the engine and make, but like I said, it was almost 40 years ago. When I was building this, I didn't even know I'd have it this long, but you never know how life goes. trying to turn this around very carefully. So let me know what you think of this Merc that I call Candy Cane. So I think the engine came out really good. Do you like it without the hood? Do you like it with the hood off or the hood on? It kind of looks more like a hot rod with it off, huh? And I do, of course, have, this is, the plastic model case, and I do have the cover to keep the dust off. I always have the cover on here. I just took it off to do this video. So unless I have to, reglue a tail light or something, I always have this car covered up. So I'm going to put the hood back on, and then I'll take a look in the trunk. Okay, I have to be real careful with the trunk because it's really delicate, the trunk lid. So I got it open and the rope's in the way here, I know. Then I gotta watch the double antennas that I don't break those. So there's the inside of the trunk. I got the spare tire, painted the white wall. I made the little spear weapon thing I glued to the hubcap. Got some tools there, all nice and chrome, just like you would kind of display it at a show car at the show, right? I made sure I painted all the inside nice and white. I said I wanted that nice clean look. So that's the trunk, and I got the hood back on. I had to be very careful. I think my finger actually hit one of the spotlights here, but I have everything glued, like double glued, so good. It didn't come loose. So yeah, I like it when the hood's open and the trunk's open. Well, most of the hood's open. I think all the hood's open on kits, but not a lot of time the trunk. That was a factory thing. I didn't do that. So now I want to show you the underneath because I painted the underneath and just like you would a show car. So I don't have anybody here to help me hold this up, so I'm going to try to hold it up and film it for you guys without dropping it. So cross your fingers. Okay, so I'm trying to do this with one hand. So this is real hard for me. I'm afraid of dropping it. So I painted everything red and white underneath. As you see, the red gas tank, the rear end, the underneath white, the chassis white, the drive shaft red, transmission, engine red. So this is hard. So I'm trying to add some chrome underneath there. So this is the first model that I ever painted the underneath like this. So I thought that was really pretty at the time, the red and white. I made the bottom match the top of the car. You can see here, everything's red and white on the top, red and white at the bottom. So this would be my ultimate dream Mercury. And I got the front end, the back end tied down with these wires. right there that go around the rear end, and they tie on the plastic pegs right there on the case. And there's holes. I don't know if you can see the holes, but there's holes underneath, and it's made to tie the car down. And the same in the front. I don't think I can show it too good, but see the front end's tied down right there with the 2 wires on the front end and the frame and all that. So it's not only glued very well, but I got this car tied down with 4 different wires to make sure it didn't go anywhere. I'm going to set this down before I drop it because I feel my hand getting shaky, and I'll come back. Okay, so I managed to get the Merc down, candy cane, without dropping it, so I'm happy about that. And so let me know what you guys think about this. Any modelers out there, let me know what you think about the car. In a minute, I'm going to turn the camera around real quick on me. I'm going to tell you the backstory on this car and how it got started. So, and if you have any Mercs or are building any Mercs, leave it in the comments, okay? And I've always wanted to do a video on this model. I just kept putting it off because the main thing was I wanted to show you the underneath as well. I had to hold it with one hand and film with the other hand. And as you can see, my hand started getting a little bit shaky. I was getting just a little bit nervous and worried there. Because I have so many hours into this car. Like I said, it took me 6 months to build it. So, like I said, it started off in 1988. I was building hot rods. My dad had his real 50 Merc. Like I said, it looked like the James Dean Rebel Without a Cause Merc, all black, white interior. So I've built, I think, 2 Mercs, just this one, and then a yellow one I built for my dad because he also had a 51 Merc. So I kept thinking, well, if I had a 49 or 50 Merc, what would my dream Merc look like? So that's when I started in. I want a convertible, I want it red, I want it white interior. And to get that shade of red, because I didn't want like a bright fire engine red, and I didn't want just like a dark red like a maroon. I wanted like an in-between custom color. And at the time, I couldn't find the right shade. So when you look at the car and the interior, I would have to give it like maybe 2, 3, 4 coats of red, and each coat made it a little bit darker. So I wanted something different because I knew at the show it was a custom car show, and there were, of the 50s cars, hot rods and customs, and there's other Mercs there and people that are into James Dean and the whole James Dean car culture. I knew they'd be bringing their model cars that look like James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause. Mainly all jet black with white or maybe tan interior. So I wanted to be way different, and the judges loved this car. And I did have it on this display, in the case. I didn't have the trophies yet, and I don't think I had the ropes and the rope stands. That's actually a string. But I did have it in the case because I didn't want them touching the car and breaking things. So I told them when you grab it, make sure you grab it by the case, just like I showed it here, because I wanted them to see the underneath. Because I don't think anybody else painted the underneath like that. Most guys just, paint it black. Because that's what I would do too. So to do the car red and white underneath, that was like a pure show car, excuse me, that you would see at a car show, an indoor car show, with mirrors and lights underneath, and they rotate sometimes on spinning wheels or whatever, So, like I said, again, this was almost 40 years ago. So this was like a really way, way out car back then. I haven't kept up too much with the modeling community now. Sometimes here on YouTube I'll check it out, but it's been about 5 years or so, so I'm not really into building model cars anymore. I haven't built a model car in, well, since I've been here in Vegas, at least 30 years. It was in Southern California was when I built my last car. So I just got into Hot Wheels and comic books, kind of went a little bit different route. So anyway, as I'm building the car, my dad said there's a James Dean, what do they call it, a car run up by Salinas, where James Dean unfortunately had his fatal car crash. Paso Robles, Salinas, and all that. So every year, I believe they celebrate the James Dean run. So you get in your classic car and you take the same route, if you can, James Dean took from Hollywood, taking the freeway all the way up to Salinas. And my dad took me a few times when I was a little kid and a teenager and all that. And it's a real nice car show. They had like in a great big park. It was grass. It was like in a neighborhood, you know, like the suburbs, but this huge park right in the middle, you know, homes and stuff. It was really, really nice. Probably at least a couple hundred cars, maybe more. It was really big. And then you stay overnight, it's like over the weekend. They have motels around the city that are real close. You can just drive your car and stay at a motel. So my dad said, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "Yeah." So I was looking at the flyer and it said they're having a model car contest. So I thought, well, being we're going anyway, if I can get this car done in time, because I had the 6 months, I'll enter it in the car show, because I never entered a model car at that time before. So that's what I did pretty much every day. You know, I worked on it. Again, it took a long time. Like I said, I had to get the paint just right. Yeah, and on the white too, that took many coats to get like that real deep, rich, thick white. So it took me a long time to do the paint. Like I said, every part I would glue on, I'd go back and re-glue it. So I was like double the glue, maybe even triple, I forget now. But I would put glue over glue over glue to make sure it could handle the car ride, you know, all the way up to Salinas. So I didn't want it, you know, breaking before I got there. So, yeah, too bad they didn't have the internet back there. I could have done a video on the car show. But this Merc was on a table with, oh, I don't know, maybe 100 or 200 other model cars. And it really stood out between it being a convertible and the red and white paint job like that. It really stood out, and that's what I wanted. And the judges were just looking at it. There were 3 different judges, and they just loved the car. And I figured I'd win something, at least 3rd place. But I got 1st place and all-around show on, it's a nice little wood plaque. So I was real happy about that. And then when you win, they call you up on stage and they give you your plaque and everybody's there and everything. So yeah, I was a young man and it was real exciting for me. So, and that was about it. Then I came home and put it on my dresser in my room, and it's been there ever since because I like to look at it every day when I come in and out of my room. So anyway, that's about it. I have a few buddies that 49 and 50 Mercs are their favorite. So I can't wait for them to see this video. And of course, all of you. So if you get a chance, you know, give the video a like, subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. I'll keep doing my Hot Wheels and comic books. And especially my Hot Wheels. I'm more into Hot Wheels more than anything right now. I do have maybe another 6 or 7 models that I will be showing on here. In my playlist, I do have some model cars that I've shown before years ago. I have, I think, 6 or 7 left that I haven't shown because I kept maybe 10 or 11 models that I built that are my favorites that I wanted to keep all these years. The rest I sold because, as you can see, you know, they're pretty big and delicate and they take up a lot of room. So I don't have all that much room, you know. The comic books and Hot Wheels, it's a little different story. They're not delicate like these model cars. So anyway, that's it, guys. I was trying not to make this video too long, but I wanted you to hear pretty much the full story of me and this candy cane Merc. Okay, so I hope you liked the video. Let me know if you do. And as always, till next time, you guys take care.